It went from really bad week 1 to much better, maybe better week 2, but we're going to assess through 2 weeks. The Cleveland Browns. John Kosko from PFF is here. We'll talk about it now. Your latest Lockdown Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB, and the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jeff Lloyd, and we appreciate everybody who makes Locked On Browns their first listen every single day. The everyday crowd, the numbers keep growing up. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel, become an everydayer, and see and get all the action for yourself. The show is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, now through September 22nd. So last week, folks, make sure you get out on this. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I teased you guys. We were trying. Look, every season's different. We're parents, we're work, trying to find schedules. But we're going to try to find some time, and we did. PFF's John Kosko here. Again, thanks, everybody. Look, it's not that I wasn't trying to do this, guys. We just have to try to manipulate the way things work. But, John, through 2 weeks, look, week 1, sometimes you just have no idea the way week 1 goes. You don't know if a team is ready, especially the way it is now in the NFL, where a lot of teams just kind of sit idle in the summer. You don't know where anything is at. Certainly week 1, certainly very, very one of those things where you just kind of watch the film, bury it, be done with it. Week 2, overall better effort. Nice to see that the defense kind of traveled on the road. Some things that some people had some concerns about this team with last season. You get in, you get your W, you come back home. Certainly a softer slate here in week 3. We'll get to that later as we go. But, John, through 2 weeks, some positives with this team. There's not basically a ton that you would say are truly, positive or super positive, but there are some.
Yeah, so let's talk about the positives. So I think Deshaun Watson's playing better than maybe the general consensus. He's got the 13th highest passing grade so far through 2 weeks. He's just below Baker Mayfield and just above Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen in passing grade. So, the passing grade takes into consideration the quality of the throws that he's making, kind of the decision making that he has, and how bad potential sacks that he has taken and stuff like that. And I would say that even in week 1, week 1 wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as maybe it felt. There was a lot that was out of sync in terms of that, and I don't think the wide receivers did all that much to help Deshaun Watson in week 1, and I still don't think they did a whole lot in week 2 to help him out as well. You look at Amari Cooper's dropped a handful of balls that he catches them, that extends drives. He's dropped 2 really big plays. A touchdown in week 1. He had another one that was a corner route that would have extended the drive again in week 2. So his receivers aren't really helping him all that out. And then you talk about the running game. The running game's not too bad right now. From an offensive line perspective, they're blocking decently well. So it's not great, but it's 14th in the league in terms of run blocking grade for the offensive linemen. They're at a 71.8. I think the running backs aren't the best, and once we get Nick Chubb back, it'll be much better, assuming that he can be full go. But I think the run blocking from that unit has been pretty solid. So that's what's working through 2 weeks. I think defensively they're fine. They're 100% fine on defensively. I think everything defense, that defensive line is playing well. I think even against the Cowboys, it was perfectly fine too. So the offense really kind of put them in adverse situations in that first game, and then you had a punt return that was returned for a touchdown. So they were much better than, say, the numbers are kind of maybe saying through 2 weeks. And you wouldn't ever expect them to be as dominant to start the season as they were last year. That was an historic type of start to a season versus this year where, I mean, you'd expect it to be good still, and it is still good defensively. So what's working is defense is working still. Denzel Ward is looking really great, and I'd say Deshaun Watson is playing better than what maybe the numbers are saying, and then I think the run blocking is better than maybe say the numbers are showing it as well.
Well, this leads to, basically, a conversation, relative to Deshaun. Look, that 2020, and everybody wants to keep bringing it up. Look, at this point, throw it the hell out. Mm-hmm. There's no belief you're ever going to see that type of play again. And, look, if you're going to stick to what he's being paid and, try to equate what numbers should be off of that, look, that's a conversation where you're just going to basically, there's a term there, and it's called mind something, but we're not allowed to say that here, something like that. You're just not going to reach that level, and it shouldn't be the expectation. But you look at it, and then you look at, the way the defense is, and, it's hard to find a flaw on each one of the three units. Jordan Hicks, again, in my opinion, the more it goes on, still one of the most under talked about transactions his team made in the offseason. You literally put a guy on the field who pretty much has the playing ability equivalent of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, been there, done it, and it certainly does not hurt that he has the experience with Jim Schwartz that he does. The elite, or Patrick Mahomes numbers and Josh Allen's numbers, and let's be honest, nobody's putting up those types of numbers through 2 weeks so far in the NFL. It's clean, it's efficient, and people want to look. Give me a high completion percentage, and don't turn the ball over. Because if everything else on that roster works the way it should, that's it. It's a recipe. And right now, the way the whole division kind of looks, it should be a recipe to win the division.
Yeah, and look at week 2. So Deshaun Watson was the fourth highest graded passer in week 2. Like, he did what he needed to do in that game. His team definitely let him down. There was 4 drops in that game from wide receivers, and I already talked about that. But like, he's playing what you need to from that position. Is he, like you said, is he going to be that elite 2020 player we saw back then? No, I don't think so. Maybe eventually he can get back to that, but like, I almost consider what him coming back and playing he's only played now 13 games for the Browns in the 3 seasons. Obviously the suspension, he's got his injury last year. It's almost like he's had to be a rookie all over again and getting back into the swing of things because of how infrequently he's played football. So I think he's going to get back to at least 2018 and 2019 type of Deshaun Watson levels. He can get to that. And then it's a matter of can that team around him also help elevate, right? Because he was grading, he was a good, not elite level quarterback in those years. And if you can get that good, but not elite level quarterback to play out of Deshaun Watson, and the team around him is stepping up and playing well, obviously we've had injuries at the offensive tackle positions. You've got to get those healthy again. And then when Nick Chubb comes back, you should have a well-oiled machine. And you also have a new offensive coordinator. You're trying to figure out, hey, Stefanski's has a different playbook that he's working from as well. So if this team plays as it should, based on the cash spending that you've had invested into this team, the defense plays, good defense where they can keep you in games like this, you should win games and have a successful season. And then it really comes down to how well can Deshaun Watson be playing at the end of the season. And that's really what it's going to be come down to.
No question. And look, you want to piece it together week by week, obviously, and that's just what you're looking for. And you're looking for growth. And one of the most important things the Cleveland Browns have is you are returning talent here. You're still going to get David Njoku back. You're going to get Conklin back. Maybe even Jed Wills. You're going to get Nick Chubb back. You assume Amari Cooper is going to play better than he has played to this point. These are all positives for this team, certainly on the offensive side of the ball, as the weeks, months hopefully go by. We're going to continue on here. Obviously, we talk some positives. Going to have to maybe talk a little negatives. John Kosko from PFF in. Nobody go anywhere. Football season is finally back, which means it's time to order your favorite game day food, snacks, and drinks on DoorDash without missing a play. Look, I got a lot of work to do on Sunday, and look, sitting on the couch, to some people, it may not be work, but it is work, and we love it anyway. Get some wings in, get some appetizers in, get some pizza in. And the best part is when you're all done, there is no cleanup. Find the recyclable can, find the garbage can, toss it all away. Wingstop is big for me. I like my wings with my games on Sundays. Usually get a little variety, 6 of these, 6 of those, and it covers me from the first half, second half. Moving on to the primetime games, it is the best way to get your game day spirit in. And look, we all got to eat. Use promo code LOCKEDFALL24 for 50% off up to $10 value when you spend $15 on your first order using DoorDash. A limited time offer. Terms apply. Promo is not valid for orders containing alcohol. DoorDash, your door to game day greatness, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app to order your game day favorites. You must be 21 or over to order alcohol. Drink responsibly. Alcohol available only in select markets. For years, you have heard us talk about the fine folks over at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now, through September 22nd, again, last weekend, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon at a market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. We continue on here. Your latest Locked On Browns PFF's John Kosko is in, talking Cleveland Browns for the first 2 weeks. Now, John, we got to some positives of this team, and I think there was a turn certainly from week 1 to week 2. But now, with positives, there's negatives, and I think one thing that really hasn't been overall, as impressive, and certainly something that we've been accustomed to for the Cleveland Browns, certainly during the Barry and Stefanski regime, is that interior offensive line. 4 penalties between Teller, Posick, Bitonio on Sunday. It could have been killers. Browns found a way to manipulate it through it, get the W. But, that's certainly one. But there are some other things that aren't just clicking 100% yet for the Browns.
Yeah, let's talk about that offensive line. So, Bitonio doesn't look right from a pass protecting standpoint. I think he's fine run blocking right now, but there's got to be something with him being able to anchor at all, because you
think calf, you think hamstring, you think ankle, Achilles. Something's not 100%, right?
Something maybe back, because anytime he's trying to, a guy gets a bull rush on him, he can't anchor. He has not been able to anchor very well at all. His pass protection grade is a 51.1. He's given up 8 pressures already in 2 games. And this is a guy that just a couple of years ago, had single-digit pressures for the entire season. The season. So Bitonio does not look right to me. So I don't know if it's just him getting old or it's got to be an injury, right? And then 2 of them can obviously correlate with each other. And then you also look at the James Hudson's not working. If you talk about
to his credit, though, he's not supposed to be there.
Right, he's not supposed to be there, but he's not working. Right, he's given up 10 pressures, 5 hits, 5 hurries, and even Ethan Posick, who's supposed to be obviously your center and supposed to be a guy that's on the younger side or whatever. He's given up 10 total pressures as well, 2 hits, 8 hurries. So the two good pieces on their offensive line from a pass protection standpoint. Wyatt Teller's been really good. Just 1 hurry that he's given up all year. And then DeJuan Jones given up 1 hit, 1 hurry. So those guys have, done their part, but man, the offensive line has not been the pass protecting unit that we're accustomed to. Obviously the injury, not having Conklin out there, not having, Jed Wills out there, as bad as Jed Wills is, the team, people love to hate on this guy. He is way better than James Hudson. He's still way better than James Hudson. So, they definitely need to get those guys right. And I would really need to see Joel Bitonio get healthy, because every single time, it's just a no-name guy. I couldn't even tell you guys that are bull rushing him. He can't anchor against them. So something is wrong with him in terms of that aspect. And then, you talk about another weak point for the Browns is their receivers. Obviously we've already talked about how bad, Amari Cooper has kind of let down Deshaun Watson in a handful of plays, but the overall grade is a 55.7, which is second worst in the NFL.
For what is invested into that room, it's inexcusable.
Yeah, and I get that the offseason they were trying to trade for Brandon Ayuk, at least the rumors of it, that there's some sort of package that went out to go get him. Like Brandon Ayuk is a stud wide receiver, obviously. I think they wanted to get younger at that position, over Amari Cooper. We all love Amari Cooper, and I think he's going to be perfectly fine this year. And I think this unit's going to be better as the season goes along. But through 2 weeks, it's been a problem, right? They have 6 drops, the most in the NFL of any wide receiver group. They've had 35 catchable passes, which is the 3rd most in the NFL. So like they've had catchable balls come their way. They're just not making the most of them. I think just 4 explosive plays from that group, which is, 25th in the NFL. So again, you're dropping passes, you're not catching your catchable passes that come your way, and you're not making explosive plays with the passes you do catch. It's been a group that really, really needs to step it up. And I think they will. But that's been the issue through 2 weeks at least.
And when you talk about that and you bring up that point, one of the things that everybody talks about once Jerry Jeudy, the acquisition had been made, was you went back 2 seasons and you talked about explosive plays and you listed wide receiver names. 2 names that were prominent on those lists and very high up on those lists were Amari Cooper and were Jerry Jeudy. So it was something that you thought was going to help this team, And look, we didn't really see it till Joe started playing last year, where this team started to go vertically more consistently and hit on it more consistently. You thought maybe bringing Jerry Jeudy in, combining that with Amari Cooper was going to be something that could keep that trend going. Not really has to this point. But to your point on Joel Bitonio and the concerns there, certainly on the bull rushes, you got a big, bad mamma jamma Sunday in Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is a problem for any interior offensive lineman in the entire NFL. And now we are talking about interior offensive line play being a weakness for the Browns. If there is a time to get it right, it is certainly between now and Sunday at 1 o'clock.
He is a game wrecker. If you let him wreck your game, he will wreck the game. Fortunately for the Browns offensive line, it's like you have to deal with him. You do have to deal with Brian Burns. He's not as dominant of a player as, obviously Dexter Lawrence, but he's still a good quality player in the NFL. They don't really have anything else besides that in terms of getting after the passer. So Dexter Lawrence is an absolute problem, and he's going to be a problem, and he's going to make plays, and you're just going to have to live with that. But you've got to deal with him, and you've got to figure out how to help Joel Bitonio with him, because if you look at the tape, I would be lining Dexter Lawrence up on that right defensive tackle position and say, you go after Joel Bitonio because this guy's cooked or whatever what you want to say about him. He does not look right now. So he's going to need to be accounted for, and he's going to be a problem.
There is no question about it. We're going to shift up here. We are going to talk a little bit of the Giants. Browns, as successful as they were last year at home, unfortunately started the season with a loss here, trying to string it together. Possibility maybe the Browns can get on a mini run here. Everybody always talked about this first 6 games of 2024, trying to make some hay. And to be honest, Cleveland and Baltimore to this point have kind of cooperated. The Browns kind of have to cooperate and take care of this themselves. We're going to continue here. The latest Locked On Browns. Don't anybody go anywhere. Summer's coming to an end, so if you want to catch those last-minute outdoor concerts, baseball games, football season is here, you want to go, you need to use Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time navigating and searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks, the curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. I suggest you hit the all-in pricing, toggle that. You don't want to go from window to window and all of a sudden see the price go up. It doesn't work that way if you use the all-in pricing toggle with Game Time. You get a legit deal. You know what the deal is. You can advance over to checkout and you know what you're paying. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app to make sure that you are satisfied. Lowest price guarantee. Your Game Time will credit you 100% of the difference. The Game Time ticket coverage is your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. We continue closing out here. John Kosko in from PFF. Cleveland Browns through 2 weeks. New York Giants coming in Sunday. Browns looking with a favorable matchup. I think if you are looking over at FanDuel, you're going to get it right now. Browns laying either 6.5 to this point. So if you're interested, I would check that out. Look, the New York Giants, and look, there are some similarities here. With the New York Giants and the Cleveland Browns, both teams are in a quarterback situation where they are unsatisfied with what they're paying their quarterback as opposed to what they are getting on the field. So both teams in a situation that way. Look, for the Giants, not really sure what the thought process was there. This is one of those ones that everybody said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And they kind of did the old, the goofy meme and said, oh yeah, and went ahead and did it. But, look, you look at Malik Neighbors, you think that's going to be a player in this league. That defensive line probably should be overall better than it is when you add in Thibodeau. So the question with the Giants is this a team that's just not going to get right till they find their quarterback? Or can they find other areas on this roster to basically offset from what they're getting in their quarterback?
Nah, they need a better quarterback.
I tried to be nice. I tried.
So you look at Daniel Jones. So he's the third least accurate quarterback in the NFL. So the two ahead of him, one's been benched in Bryce Young, who's the least accurate quarterback in the NFL. And the other is Anthony Richardson, whose one issue coming out of college was his accuracy. And Richardson, though, like makes up for it in a sense with he has an
splash plays, yeah,
exactly, splash plays, playmaking ability to run it if he needs to. And he just basically, for me, it looks like he needs a more cleanup, footwork type of stuff. He had a really bad interception against the Packers, where he was just trying to fade it off his back foot and just sail the ball on a guy. I think when his mechanics are good, he's accurate enough. But yeah, Daniel Jones, he doesn't look right. And he's a guy that, 2 years ago was given a big contract after, kind of performing unspectacularly.
Went to the playoffs. That was it. Write the check.
They went to the playoffs and won a game and write the check. Right. So similar to how Baker Mayfield took the Browns to the playoffs and everybody and won a game, and everybody wanted to pay him, and me included. I said, hey, pay the guy, because he actually was playing extremely well for that season.
Yes,
Daniel Jones was just still at an average level. I think he had 6 big time throws and 10 turnover worthy throws that year, and that doesn't say, hey, this is a guy that you pay. This was a guy that was just taking what the defense was giving him and going with it. And now you're asking, hey, you need to start making some plays, and he's not equipped to do that. Basically, it's not really in his DNA to be able to make plays. I would say that the Giants team as a whole, they're not as bad as you'd think, right? So they have some good pieces on the offensive line. Andrew Thomas is one of the best offensive tackles in the game. Obviously, they just drafted Malik Neighbors, who just went off on Sunday, despite the loss for the Giants against the Commanders. So they have good pieces there to kind of build around. I know that they, obviously didn't re-sign Saquon Barkley, which I think is the absolute right move when you're talking about hey, we're still kind of rebuilding here. You don't pay a running back in a rebuilding type of team that you're trying to.
He's not. He wouldn't be the reason that he would not have the Giants better than 0-2 right now.
No, exactly. So the defense though is kind of an issue for them. From a gradings perspective, they're bottom half of the league, so it's not terrible, but it's not a defense that you'd say, hey, this is a defense that's going to keep you in games. They have some good pieces, like we talked about, I think Burns is a good pass rusher. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence is a very good player. On the back end, they've got some good young secondary players. I think it was Andrew Phillips is a rookie for them.
Monster week last week.
Yes, monster week for him. We'll kind of wait to see if this guy legit for the NFL, or is it a 1 week type of thing? We have no idea. It's way too early to kind of say on that guy, but obviously they picked in the top 10 for several years, and like Calvin Thibodeau is not panning out like what we maybe thought as picking him 5th overall. I believe it was 5th overall a couple of years ago. He hasn't been that guy. Obviously, they picked Evan Neal. He's not even playing right now because he's been so bad in the NFL. So they've kind of you don't have to absolutely hit on your first round picks, but man, if you get a top 10 pick and you don't hit on it, it does hurt. And these guys are not living up to their pre-draft hype and everything like that. So this is a team that's looking like they're going to be drafting a new quarterback come April of next year.
Carson Beck. I would say Giants fans, you might want to get used to the name because there ain't no way Shedeur Sanders is going to go anywhere near the New York Giants, and vice versa, most likely. He is John Kosko from PFF. Always enjoy our sit downs. PFF obviously business really picks up this time of year, so make sure you check everything out. Crew over there is busting their butts. Make sure you're following at John Kosko 3. I'm your host, Jeff Lloyd. We appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd, you're a bunch of filthy animals, but you're my filthy animals. I suggest everybody become a filthy animal. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcast. Check out Locked On NFL. Tyler Rowan in the morning, Tony Wiggins in the afternoon. Just great content, and you're going to see a lot more from the other Locked On host shows. These guys are putting takes on takes sometimes from what we're dropping on our own episodes, so make sure you check all of that out. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on ELOB. Let's go Browns.